Awesome. A book came out a couple of years ago in the States, and it was very surprising that people who have the most money weren't the Hollywood guys. People who get paid $6 million for a movie. It's not the plastic surgeon who gets paid $500,000 a year for fixing your nose. It's just the little guy who lives next door. Up here, we don't call them millionaires, we might call them miners. But it's very interesting when you have a look through, you know, the Hollywood movie stars who do get paid a couple of $1 million for a movie. And they always live in big flash houses and they drive the Porsches or the Ferraris or whatever. And then when you read through the who's who, the rich list, you don't see any of the movie stars in there. Because they don't actually have any cash. They've got lots of toys, but no actual money. Now, what I define as a millionaire is a person who's got $1 million in investable assets. Investable assets. So don't count the Ferrari. We don't count the house. I don't care how expensive the house is. Someone with $1 million in cash, shares, bonds, whatever. Okay? Anybody know anybody like that? Okay. Good. There's a few millionaires. In Australia, the number has been increasing. So 1% of the population now are millionaires in Australia. And the number is getting higher because of the way the Australian share market's been moving over the last couple of years. I think there's 100 people sitting here. At least one person here is going to be a millionaire in cash assets plus the value of their home. Okay, by the smile, I think it's this bloke here. So if anybody wants to approach him at the end of the day and his phone number, find out a couple of tips. But I'll give you a couple of tips here. I've worked with a lot of people over a lot of years. I've caused people to go from almost scratch to over $1 million within a couple of short years. Worked with a lot of millionaires who have been millionaires. I've also worked with the quasi-millionaires. So not too many Hollywood types in Australia. We might get the GPs, we might get the miners. One of my least favourite clients was actually a GP. And he's a nice guy, but I didn't have much to work with. I go into his house and he's got this beautiful, beautiful mansion. There's a waterfall coming down the wall and a little, what do you call it, little creek running down the side of the hallway as you walk into the house. Beautiful. On the edge of the escarpment, overlooking the mountains. And he's got the Range Rover out the front, he's got the Jaguar out the front, and he's got no money. Massively in debt, cars are leased, and every Thursday he's got about $5 in the bank before he gets paid. He's a doctor and his wife was some sort of pathologist, radiologist, somethingologist. Huge cash flow and no money. One of my favourite clients actually came in to see me and lovely bloke, pulled up in his Datsun 180B. Bit of rust along the bottom of the door sills. I thought, this is interesting, orange car. And he got out and he was about 60, bent over like this. And he had a bit of rust along his door sills too. Little holes down the side of his pants. I thought, interesting. This guy, you try not to judge people, but you can't help it. You know, he comes into the office and sits down and says, I want to invest some money. And I said, beauty, how much? He says, 1.3, 1.4. He said, we're talking dollars or millions? What's the story here? And he had almost $1.5 million just in cash, plus his house, plus his little Datsun 180B. And I said to this guy, what do you do for a living? He said, I'm an ambulance officer. And those guys, I mean, I think his highest wage he ever got before he retired was about $35,000. But every time he got his wage, he saved it. Okay? One of the things, what I want you to learn is don't copy the Hollywood movie stars. Don't copy the miners who have got 6 jet skis, 4 four-wheel drives and a beautiful house. Because all those toys are nice, but they won't give you the same security that having $1 million in the bank will. So anybody who hasn't got a pen, go and steal one of these stands around and write these things down. 5 quick points that I've learned from studying millionaires for a long time. Thanks, John.